What's up, everybody? Anthony Rudolph here, and welcome back to Born to Create. Now, Born to Create is a podcast, and our focus is creation. Our focus is if who or what you want to be doesn't exist, go out there and create it. We're all born to create, so go out there and make it happen. Now, today, I have an amazing guest, my man, Imran. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing amazing, Anthony. How are you today?
I'm doing great. So we met, I think it was about a year or so ago over in Vegas at Chad Nicely's house. I think it was Joe Lavery's event.
That's right.
So you got there and you talked, and I was just super impressed with the man, that you are. And we recently spent some time this past weekend at our boy John Bolima's event, Passion and Profits, where you again killed it. Talked about how to build a seven-figure system. And I just really, fell in love with your system, with your method, with how you operate, with how you just been kicking butt. But first, I want to get to, I just found out at the event that you are a new father, right?
That's right.
You are a new father. So first, congratulations. And let's start there for a little bit. How is fatherhood treating you thus far?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the single most inspirational and exciting thing happening in my life. Before becoming a father, I would say that work was that thing for me. But one look at your own baby and how she smiles, it melts your heart. And so I just feel really blessed and grateful. It's something I wanted my whole life to become a father.
Yeah.
Finally at 35, here it is, and
right.
it's like a dream, Anthony.
Yeah, it is. So hold on to that dream as long as possible, because I'm not sure you know about me, but I have 6 girls, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
And my oldest girl, she is 17, and then I have 15, 14, and 13. So now I'm dealing with boys. so hold that, because pretty soon boys will be in the picture. I mean, and it remains beautiful. I mean, it's just that evolution of becoming a man, a father, and you just watch how they grow. You just watch them growing into these beautiful young ladies, and as long as we guide them and teach them, they'll always be on the right path. So
That's right. Yeah.
You and your wife, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the circle of life completing. We gave our parents a hard time, so now it's our kids' turn to give us.
Yep. It's exactly. So we're taking it strides. All right.
It.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started in business, because everybody sees the 7 figures, sees the companies, but let's talk about how IR got started in business in general. Take to that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you guys a quick background on myself, just so you can get to know my story and how I arrived on this call today. So I was born and raised in Pakistan. I was 14 when I moved here to the US. English was my second language. And, I moved in not really knowing what I was getting myself into. And it took many, many years to really understand the US system and the US mindset. And I started off, in information technology, being a computer guy, repairing computers, working on computer networks, and eventually becoming a network engineer. What I realized about information technology is that I was always reactive. So I had a pager on me, it had a 5-minute response time. And I remember I would be out with friends on a weekend and this freaking pager would be going off. And I'm like, what kind of life is this? I'm trying to do my thing. And it's like a digital leash, pulling on me. And I realized that, I'm a people person. I need to be out there. I need to be around people. And it was at that time that I left information technology and very stereotypically, started helping my family run their convenience store gas station business. I was selling beer. I was selling cigarettes. I was cashing, we were cashing checks, doing a lot of monetary services. And I just fell in love with business, you look at a gas station convenience store, such a retail 101 business. You have to make sure, all the proper bases in business are covered: inventory management, your team, payroll, scheduling, loss prevention, and on and going there, opening the door. There are times 2:00 in the morning, we'd get a call, somebody's breaking into to the store, alarm going off. So it's like a real world, very real world business. And what happened is that a Walmart opened up close by. And when that Walmart opened up, it just crushed our business. I mean, they had a gas station, they were doing check cashing, they were doing money orders, they were doing bill payments, they were doing all the things that made us unique. And at that time, I set out to essentially discover the best business model, because I realized that business model was not very optimized, right? You had, all this competition, big players could come in from the outside because it's a physical business only, it has a few mile radius around it, or people passing through that would stop there. Otherwise, somebody in another state, for example, isn't going to come and do business with us. And that search led me to my first internship in digital marketing, which was over 10 years ago. And, like they say, the rest is history.
Right.
Once I got deeper and deeper into internet marketing and digital marketing, e-commerce, drop shipping, all the things that we do, launching courses, coaching programs, masterminds. What I realized, Anthony, is that is the most ideal business in the world. And so that's what the journey over the last 10 years has been about, is really leveraging this incredible business model and an industry that we find ourselves in.
Right. So when you say, awesome story. And so when you say it's the most ideal business, unpack that for us. Like, what's most ideal business?
Absolutely. So in the early 1970s, a lawyer named Richard Russell wrote an article called The Perfect Business.
Okay.
And The Perfect Business was an article where he hypothesized this perfect business that didn't exist. And he said, imagine if you could have a business that would sell to the whole world, a business that didn't require you having a lot of inventory, a business that wouldn't be affected by political, environmental, or natural events, a business where you would get paid quickly, a business where you would be the only one selling what it is that you're selling, a business that, allowed you to have minimal labor. And he went on, and he kind of hypothesized this business that didn't exist. But if it did, Anthony, it would be the greatest business in the world.
Yeah.
And when I set out and started searching for this ideal business, what I realized is that it is affiliate marketing. It is e-commerce, drop shipping. And so these few business models, e-commerce, information marketing, digital marketing, these business models are so powerful because they're the closest that I've ever found a business to be to the ideal business, where you can create basically the maximum amount of impact because you are in the best business model, as opposed to, remember that gas station, Walmart opened up. You don't want to be in that situation. You feel so powerless. What are you going to do to compete with, Walton and Company?
Right. Well, Walton and Company, I didn't know that Walmart was actually doing gas stations. I thought that was just Sam's Club. So I guess Walmart is doing it.
Yeah.
But Walmart is, you can't compete with them. So e-commerce. So a lot of people want to call they're new to business. So e-commerce is basically is the Amazon model, putting your own products into a store online and then selling, right? And so how did you get into actual e-commerce, dropshipping? Like where did that part start?
Absolutely. So over the last 10 years, the first 8 or so, I was focused on information marketing, selling, coaching, events, courses, masterminds, different services and things like that. And what I realized is that service-based businesses, typically B2B businesses, require a lot of hand-holding. And you almost become friends with your customers and you talk to them all the time and you're helping them grow their businesses. And unless you have a deal where you're getting compensated a percentage of profits or potentially getting equity down the road, as an entrepreneur, it gets hard to constantly always be working on other people's businesses.
Right.
And what I realized when I met my business partner, Fabian Cordova, at eProfits Group, when the two of us connected, and he was focused on e-commerce, our other good friend, Sebastian Gomez, was already in e-commerce at that time. And so when we saw that, you could scale a campaign and do, 6 figures, even 7 figures in a month, I was thinking in my head, man, I'm working way too hard. So what I did is over the last 2 years, made a transition and went from, kind of applying all my knowledge that I learned about direct response marketing and selling, information marketing products, and channeled that into instead e-commerce. And what happened next was just incredible. Because I was able to apply all these marketing principles that work. Doesn't matter what you're selling. to e-commerce, and then boom, things just, took off.
Yeah. Took off from there. Cool. And it's really amazing that you mentioned partnerships, because that was a big thing that Myron talked about this past weekend. Is like, this is the age of partnerships, and you're using that. You're taking that. So let's talk about some more. So how important is the partnership method in your business? I mean, do you see that took you to much higher levels than when you go on your own? Talk to me about your partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. If you really look at what a partnership is, Anthony, it is essentially a mastermind, in a sense that two or three, I think two partners is having another partner is good. Having two partners is like, okay, you're kind of pushing it. Having three partners, forget it. You guys, you got to be Superman to get a 4-person partnership working. So typically 3 is a really good number. And if you can just have one other partner, so it's just 2 people, that's even better and faster. And what I realized is that, work is really an excuse to do what we're passionate about. Obviously, we have to earn a living, and that's something we have to factor into everything that we do. Really, though, work should be a reason that we get excited every morning, that we are passionate. And what I realized is that I want to use work and partnerships and masterminds as an excuse to just be around the people that I want to be around, Like, imagine if your business partners are people that you could, at the end of the day, hang out with, go have a drink with, and they're your buddies and they care about you and you care about them. Well, those are the kind of people that I want to be around. Those are the people that I want to work with.
Right.
And so that led me to discover, a variety of friends and partners. And I don't get along perfectly with all my partners, but all my partners, hold their own weight. And I think that's probably the single most important thing in a partnership is that, imagine if you have 2 or 3 partners, and one is focused on all things, general, one is focused on all things traffic, one is focused on all things conversion. Well, now you have 3 really good areas of focus where each of you guys can really, really shine. And, Myron said it the best when he said, would you rather have a quarter of a watermelon, or would you rather have, a whole grape? And so partnerships and masterminds, are the watermelon way.
Right. That's Myron, to this day, he still blows my mind to what he's saying. So I see the excitement in you. I mean, I see the passion, and even though this is an online call, I actually feel the vibrations of your excitement.
I love it.
And that's amazing. And 99% of the people are not doing what they want, are not satisfied, are not happy. But you found it, right? You found your calling, you found your destiny, you're living your purpose. How do you maintain that excitement? What's your routine to get your mindset to say, you know what, this is what I'm doing, I'm excited, and I'm going to go out every day and make it happen? How do you maintain that?
Definitely. So I'll say a couple of things. One is that we are born with certain inclinations and talents and gifts, and we each have our own version of it. I believe we're all equal. I believe we all have our own version of, let's call it God's greatness in us. And so, one of the things that I've really, really focused on, and you could say either by design or you could say by accident or destiny, is really protected my mind. Protected my mind. And what do I mean by that? I'm very, very conscious of what I allow into my mind. So over the last 20 years, I've massively minimized reading the news. I've massively minimized hanging around people that aren't aligned with my vision of my life and where I want to go and what I want my family to experience. I read a ton of books, been to a ton of events. I always remind myself it's more important to listen than to talk. We have 2 ears, and smart people learn from their own mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. And so I've just, been kind of naturally attracted to wisdom my whole life and sought out wisdom. And, I want to be very clear that, even if you are a top achiever and you're successful, you still struggle daily. You still face challenges. The difference is that you show up with a positive attitude and you say, hey, you know what? I don't care how many times I get knocked down. I'm just going to get up one more time.
One more time.
And I firmly believe in the whole 3 feet from gold idea that often we give up when 80 to 90% of that bridge is built, when we're trying to connect two islands. And if, that bridge is 90% complete, it's almost as good as 10% complete, right? I mean, it makes no difference. And so it's just really about, building those bridges, pushing things through, taking things through the completion, being compassionate with yourself, always working on yourself and working on 4 critical areas of your life: your mindset, your tool set, your skill set, and your resource set, right? If we're constantly working on mindset, tool set, skill set, and resource set, well, how can we not get to the next level?
That's a bomb right there. That is a bomb. Yeah, I'm glad I'm recording it. That's a bomb. So thank you for that. I agree. Is that you go to these events that we've been to, and you see so many people who are there who want to change their life, but you and I both know that most of them won't, right? And it's more of like an inner struggle, because people know that they can do it because they see people like you and me doing it every day, but they can't get past the fact that, do I deserve it, right? Because my life has been lived this long to this point, and I've never got to where I wanted to be. And I just think people need to a point where they think they deserve to be at that level, right? Deserve to make 7 figures, deserve to be on ecom, deserve to change the landscape of their family. And that's one thing that I found, is that people have to sort of forgive themselves, okay? And don't be defined by your past. Your past is your past. And I know a big struggle of mine years ago is that when I was trying to get started in business, in ecom, in real estate, anything, I was so hooked to my past failures, what happened and what I didn't do, and how can I make $1 million in real estate if I came from poverty, if I came from lack. And that was tough for me to get through, but it's possible to get through it. It's possible to move forward from your negative, false past beliefs, because it's the past. You can't go back and change it. All you can do is just move forward, right?
And Anthony, I firmly believe, man, that that you could be born broke, but you choose to be poor.
Amen.
And poverty, being broke, is a financial state that can change tomorrow.
Right.
Being poor is a mindset that's a disease.
Amen.
And if now we're kind of getting to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I believe we live in a society where and Myron just hit the nail on the head on this conversation, is we're not taught to be great. We're not taught to be excellent. We're not taught to, be our best. We're taught to conform. We're taught to follow orders. We're taught to listen to others. Right. We're not empowered. And, I have done a lot of research and all of this, making sense of this thing called life, this place where we are. And I believe that, there's a saying, as above, so below, as within, so without. And essentially, just like how our body, has essentially these cells, and really what our body is a collection of trillions of cells. We're a community of trillions of cells. I really look at humanity the same way. Humanity is a collection of trillions of, or in this case, 7 billion, individual cells. And, I believe that each of us has that same spirit or energy in us that is in all the greatest leaders, Martin Luther Kings of the world, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, the people who've created great social revolutions and conscious changes on this planet, not just in business, but in life. They tapped into this divine aspect of themselves. And we all have that. The challenge is that over time, we've built layers around it of disbelief, right? Of lack of confidence, of lack of trust. But if just for a moment we go back to our childhood and how we were and how excited we were and how much we loved imagining and how much we loved creating and how much we loved dreaming, we have to remind ourselves that it's that type of an attitude, it's that type of an approach, it's that type of a style that will get you results faster. and to realize that failures are just checkpoints along the way to the destination of success. It's not possible. Success and failure are at the opposite ends, let's say, of the same stick.
Okay.
So there's no other way to get to success but through failure. What happens is our society does not encourage failing, does not support failing. And so if you can surround yourself in the environment, whether it's with the books, the tapes, the TVs, the friends, the YouTube videos, if you can surround yourself in this environment of possibility and this environment of belief, what you realize is that, you know, seeing is not believing, believing is seeing. When you believe, it happens. And if you say, when this happens, I will do that, or if this happens, I will do that, or one day I will do that, oh boy, you are out of the game before it even started.
You are out of the game before it starts. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And most people live in fear, you know, fear of the unknown, you know, and we keep going back to Myron, right? Because he has such a staple right now.
That's right.
And he said that people live in fear and saying, what if this does not work? What if I launch this store and it fails? Well, you're going to get more of what you already have. So if you already have it, then you're losing nothing. But what if it works? And there was and I don't know if I should use this reference, but the name of Bill Cosby had a
controversial reference.
Controversial, you know, a comment about success. And it's like, I just need to see one step at a time. I don't have to see the whole staircase, right? I just need to see one step at a time. And most people want to see the whole staircase. Well, I got to see where I'm going. And again, Myron said, it's not my responsibility to know how I'm going to get there, but it's my responsibility to know I'm going to get there, right?
Amen.
That's my business. That I'm going to get there. And I know as entrepreneurs, we've had failures. We've had fears. So talk to me about how you overcame or still overcome fear, because for me, I mean, it's every day for me, right? It's like, you know, this product, this store, you know, am I going to lose money? I mean, how do you conquer your fear every single day?
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, that, let's call it fear management plan is something that's in effect every day that you're dealing with. And, you know, I've read books like, you know, Feel the Fear, Do It Anyways. Fear is, you know, false evidence appearing real. And so, you know, we try to build, let's say, legs on this table to believe that, you know, fear is something that's natural, that it comes up, and that the greatest, most successful people in the world feel it, and yet they still move forward. And the big difference is, you know, will you let that fear stop you versus keep you, you know, versus propel you, let's say, right? And man, you know, Anthony, of all the self-development I've done, what I've realized is life is a set of stories that we believe and that we tell ourselves. And whatever it is that you tell and believe yourself is what your reality will be. And so, you know, I have told myself the story, and I'm always working on the narrative that, you know, I come from having nothing. And so if I'm trying to go up, how much worse will it get? You know, I started with nothing. So if I end up at nothing, okay, well, it can't get any worse. And, you know, what I've realized is that life is cyclical, and there's cycles. You know, sometimes there's cycles of, just like in a year, you have the 4 seasons and you have the different cycles. Just like that, we have different cycles in our life. And it's better to embrace those cycles and flows and kind of go with them. And to realize that, you know, you're only, you know, one project, one phone call, one partnership away from $1 million. But if you don't take that call, if you don't get on that meeting, if you don't go for that partnership, how will you ever know, right? If we have a seed bank and it looks really good, all those seeds on a shelf somewhere, what good is that going to do? Now we start planting the seeds and nurturing the seeds and providing it sunlight and caring for the seed. That seed is a genetic blueprint that takes an acorn and turns it into an oak tree. And just like that, with our imagination, we can take the imagination of, you know, an acorn and turn it into an oak tree. And the way it's done is by kind of nurturing that vision, sustaining that vision, supplying that vision, and not running out of hope and money. The two things I say: don't run out of hope, don't run out of money.
I like that.
Hope is easy not to run out of. You
Yeah.
just gotta remember that,
Yeah.
you know, again, it can't get any worse, and you just got to keep moving forward and be optimistic. And then the money part is very important. And so over time, there have been times where I've had to go out and get consulting gigs, or sell a product or sell a service and do things, let's say, that I didn't necessarily want to do that minute, but that I had to do, right? And so, you know, if you can balance, you know, being an entrepreneur with also doing gigs that kind of sustain the cash flow, that takes some of the pressure off, because, or let's say having investors or partners or external capital, or using business credit, doing crowdfunding. I mean, we live in 2019. There should be no reason that someone, you know, should say like, I can't do this because blank. You know, so if you kind of go into it with that resilience, and also know that you're gonna fall down, you're gonna get your skin, you know, cut, and it's gonna be blood, and it's gonna get messy, but that you're committed to that vision of, you know, in my case, my vision is to be a self-made millionaire, and to do it via online marketing, and to be able to then get on stage and be able to share that vision with everyone, and saying that, hey, look, if I can do it, an immigrant from Pakistan speaking English as a second language, then you can do it too. And as we experience successes, what happens is they snowball. So if you can make $1 online, you can make 3. If you can make 3, you can make 10. If you can make 10, you can make 30, 100, 300. If you can make 300, you can make 1,000. Well, you make $1,000 in a day, and oh boy, you're in top 1% of earners in this world.
That's amazing. When I heard that stat, that's like, really, I mean, because I mean, it's a feat, but it's not it's something that can't be done like very, very quickly. And that's amazing. And I heard a quote in reference to fear in life, and it said that most people spend their days laying the bricks to build a kingdom that enslaves them. Right? That was like,
in their mind, right? Like,
in your mind, it's like you're laying these bricks every single day. You're building a kingdom that enslaves you. It's like, you know, that, and it was said by Myron once again. You know that was one of his quotes. So
powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful. You're talking about, you know, self-development and how you feed your mind every day. You're an author, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Talk to us about your books.
Yeah. So many years ago, in 2011, I sort of just came up with a quote every day. And it's this quote of either about wisdom or life, or in some cases business. And each day I just came up with a quote. And so my first book, I just took all of the 365 quotes, and I'm actually just relaunching that book under the title Act, Adjust, Achieve, right? Act, take action, adjust, be agile, be flexible, shift, flow like water, and then achieve, which is persistent, stay committed until you get the goal. So that's the first book. And the second book is just getting ready to be released August 1st. And that second book is called The 7-Figure Blueprint. And that's all about how do you launch a 7-figure business. And, you know, Anthony, I wanted to mention one point, that a story that's just people are going to love, is that, have you heard of the Chinese bamboo analogy?
No. Talk to me.
Okay, yeah, the Chinese bamboo. So there are certain species of the Chinese bamboo that when you plant these seeds, that, you know, a month goes by, 3 months goes by, like, 2 years go by, nothing happens, and you're like, you know, this stuff, that the seeds are dud, it doesn't work. And then within, you know, 30 days, within 90 days, this thing will grow 30 feet in the ground. So from nothing to 30 feet. So what's important to realize is that in life, sometimes life can just be like that, is you can just constantly just keep going at it, and you don't see that result yet. But the whole point is, again, that persistence, that you keep going, and then what happens at one point is that the momentum shifts, the things pops out of the ground, and then when it does, it, you know, grows like crazy. And sometimes that's what can happen in life, is you can go through these dry spells and have a hard time, but as long as you just stay persistent and you kind of like stay committed to finding your gold, sometimes, you know, all that's left is those last 3 feet. You push through, boom, you hit the gold mine, and then, you know, then everyone looks at you and says, oh, he's rich and successful, and a bad person or whatever they think about you.
Yeah, I was reading a book by Darren Hardy called The Compound Effect, and it talks about the little things you do every single day that leads to huge results. So people don't see the little unsexy things you do every day, but it's about commitment and how you compound everything you do. And that's exactly what you're saying. It's like,
absolutely,
you won't see it today, tomorrow, next week, next month, but keep at it. When you see it, it's going to sprout like crazy, right?
That's it.
Yeah,
and have the belief. Right? Like, tell yourself the story. It's possible. It will happen. I will get there. The people, the resources, the help will come my way. And even if that's all bullshit, and even if it's not real, right. Anthony, it just makes you feel a little better along the journey.
Right.
Instead of being stressed out and, oh, this is not going to work. Oh, I'm going to fail. I'm going to go bankrupt. The other side of the story, it makes you feel better on the journey, that every day we have to go on that journey anyways.
Right. Because what you focus on expands. If you focus on, I'm going bankrupt, I'm going this, I'm going that, that's going to happen. But if you flip it, I'm prosperous, I'm great, I'm a 7-figure earner. Even if you're not there yet, you're putting it out there in the universe, and the universe responds. So
absolutely does.
So, you've been in this business for a while, and I've personally witnessed what a generous man you are, right? And how you give. You've helped so many people grow their business, learn, become 7-figure earners. How can we find you, get in touch with you? How can we learn more about IR? How can we find you?
Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And, after many, many years, I'm kind of channeling everything into one brand and one company only, which is officially launching on August 1st. And that's essentially 7-Figure Lab. And 7-Figure Lab is a community of entrepreneurs, just like you and I, who's dedicated to helping each other achieve time, location, and financial freedom, right? If we can experience time, location, and financial freedom, it's like hitting the life lottery.
Yes.
Life jackpot.
Yes.
And so you can go to 7figurelab.com, become a part of our Facebook group. We'd love to stay in touch with you and add value to you. And, I'm grateful for you allowing me the opportunity to share that.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Facebook, Instagram?
I think the best thing to do is to connect to the Facebook group, and to the YouTube channel that's going to be launched. And so I'm sort of like putting all my chips, on YouTube.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm really looking forward to growing this. And got to remember, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not a dash, 100-meter dash, right? It's a marathon. And so it's all about kind of building that audience, building that community. No matter what business you're in, that's one of the most important things you can do. Build an audience, build a community, just like you are, just like we are in this video. And so that's the right way to think.
Right. Okay. So our viewers range from people who already have 7-figure empires to people who are just, getting started, people who are, just really not there yet. So I want to talk to those people right now, the people who are, how do I get started? What do I do? And more of not the actual physical motion, but the mindset, talk to people right now who are struggling mentally to get going in their business. What should they do?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I talk about this in the 7-Figure Blueprint. And what I found, Anthony, where I experienced the most amount of success is when I started with the first step, which was decision. I just made a decision.
Right.
And that decision, I made one decision very, very early on in life. And that was, I want to be, very rich and successful.
Right.
And it's because God has blessed us with such brilliant minds. What a waste it would be if we didn't transmute that into prosperity and abundance, which is our birthright, which is our natural state. And so, oftentimes life is more about deprogramming and unlearning all the stuff that's not serving you. And it's just really about making a clear-cut, simple decision. And that decision can be, I'm committed to, making my first $1 million in, e-commerce, whether that's Shopify or Amazon, or that's saying, okay, I'm committed to doing my first $1 million, being, an influencer and talking about products and communities and causes that I believe in. And it's even more so just a decision about saying that, hey, you know what? I'm willing to, I'm willing to shed my old skin, right? So that I can grow into a new, better version of myself and succeed in business. And it all starts with a decision of you saying, I'm going to do it. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how many times I fail.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Yeah.
And I decide, and you commit to that decision, you pivot along the way, and you persist until you achieve it. And so it all starts at just making a decision saying, I can do this. I will do this.
Yeah. That's the most important part. And so it was you who mentioned this weekend, like find one thing, make $1 million there first, and then you can move to the next.
Yeah. And Anthony, I can even extrapolate that on a little bit, is that, like, you know, if you're going to launch an online business, just get one traffic source working, right? Oftentimes I see entrepreneurs making a mistake is they'll go on Facebook, they'll go on Google, they'll go on Instagram, they'll do YouTube. And they're like, what about Pinterest? Can't leave that alone. Oh, we got to do influencer marketing. Oh, what about email marketing? Hey, what about retargeting? And it's like, now you're like going to do this, right? So what did we do for us to achieve our first 7 figures, multiple 7 figures in e-commerce? We just put the blinders on Facebook and Instagram. And as those campaigns gained momentum, we also tapped into Google naturally, because people are going there searching for stuff. It's natural to expand into Google. But really by focusing on that, we were able to, generate amazing results, right? Same thing on the conversion side. Like, instead of you working on, let's say, a store first, it makes more sense to get a funnel working first, in my opinion, right? Because a funnel is just a single product. Right. A store is a lot more complicated, more products, more apps, more action, more options. People can click and go to other places, but a funnel just kind of like directs it. So, just making a decision on, okay, I'm going to do Shopify, I'm going to do Amazon, I'm going to be a coach, whatever the decision, that's one thing. And then second is deciding, okay, on the traffic side, I'm going to do this one thing. On the conversion side, I'm going to do this one thing. Here's what I'm going to sell on the front end. Here's what I'm going to sell on the back end. 2 things.
Right.
And that's all you really need to focus on to generate your first $1 million. Nothing more than those items that we just talked about.
That's it.
That's it. Master one traffic source, master one funnel, master one industry. And look, you can make $1 million in any one of these things we talked about, and you can lose $1 million in any one of these things. It is not the industry. It is not the business model. It is you.
It's you.
It's you, baby. You can succeed at something. You could feel, and there are alignments. There are certain things that we're aligned with because of our passion, our talent, our experience. So we're likely to more succeed in those areas. But as long as you align yourself with your passion, talent, experience, and most importantly, where the money is. Don't just do things you're passionate about that don't pay. Things that are, paying. And once you kind of have those blinders on, okay, I'm going to stay in this lane, master one traffic source, master one conversion strategy, one front-end product, one back-end product. In the beginning, the back-end product doesn't even matter. Just focus on the front-end product. And so the less, I think, as entrepreneurs, we can focus on, the better, because digital marketing is so big that if you try to go the other way and try to do a little bit of everything, you just won't move ahead, because you'll just be doing a little tiny bit in all these different areas instead of just hyper focusing.
Yeah. Awesome. So I know you probably went through it on a broad spectrum, but so in closing, I know one was decide. Give us 3 quick action steps that we can take today. I know decide was one. Give us two quick more action steps.
Yeah, I would love to. So, one is decision, right? Another 2 would be, one is come up with a clear plan, right? So get clear with, if we want to go somewhere, it first starts with making a decision of where we want to go. Then we can talk about the directions of how we're going to get there, the itinerary, where do we want to stop along the way, those kinds of things. So get really clear on once you've made that decision, get really clear on your plan. And one tool that you can use to help you with that clarity, gain that clarity, is a lean canvas. So you can go to Google, type in one-page lean canvas, and it's a one-page business model, and it has 9 core areas. And by you completing a lean canvas, you'll get clear on your exact business model in one page. So that's the second step, is do the lean canvas. The third step is just take massive action and just get out of your head and get out of the story you're telling yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm not technical enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy enough. You know what? All of those are lies the society wants you to believe, because they don't want you to be great. They want you to be mediocre so you could fit in.
Yeah.
You want to, do you want to fit in, or do you want to be the best version that you could be? And so we want to be the best version, and that's just done by massive action and being agile along the way. So you decide, you plan, and then you just take massive actions with an attitude of persistence that, you know what, I'm not going to stop until I achieve my goal.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys are taking notes, because these were some bombs. So my notes say decide, plan, and take massive, massive action.
Super simple. Right. Applies to anything. I don't care what your business model is, business to consumer, business to business, what industry you're in.
Yeah.
Nope. These are principles.
Well, thank you for blessing us today. I really appreciate it. And guys, I mean, if you weren't blessed by this and learn from this, then I don't know what to tell you, but now it's time to go out there and take that action. Now it's time to go out there and create the life that you want, because you can do it. You heard from IR, he did it. So you can do it as well. So it's time to get up, go take action, go get it, because you and your family deserve it. Thank you guys for watching Born to Create. And IR, anything in closing?
Remember, you were born to create. So just go out and do it, baby.
My man. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good day. Bye.